What up, everybody? Welcome, Lions fans, to another episode of Full Metal Analysis. We are celebrating here in Detroit. We are the kings of the North Divisional Championships with a win over the Vikings last Sunday. Marcus, how you feeling this week, man?
It's a real good feeling around the city. Lions fans, it's a good time to be a Lions fan. To be honest with you,
After
man,
years of
to be honest with you, it's more of a relief than it is an excitement for me personally.
Uh, I got excitement. I got a little bit of relief, but I was with I was with Dan Campbell. They said it was going to take 3 to 4 years, and they was true to their word, man. 3 years later, we went from nothing to almost a complete team. I won't say we a complete team yet, but we are damn near a complete team, man. I look forward to making somewhat of a run in these playoffs. I don't know. I'm not. I don't think we'll make it all the way, but I'm trying to. But I would like to see how far we can get.
I feel like 2-3 weeks ago, I felt real good. I don't know how which doesn't make sense because it shouldn't have been like that. I guess they was on the wild card, but anyway. A few weeks ago, man, I was feeling real good. They was talking about, the wild card teams might be like the Minnesota Vikings or the Atlanta Falcons or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then all of a sudden now it's like, yeah, it don't matter what you do. You could be the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed. It pretty much sounds like we got to go through an old demon and either Matthew Stafford or the Seattle Seahawks. So,
Yeah.
that
Speaking of that, we had a question. While you on this subject, we had a question in the comments from Dylan Robbins. Dylan Robbins, shout out to you for the question, man. He asked how we will feel if we had to face the LA Rams in the playoffs.
yeah, no, it would not be ideal matchup. The Rams like to pass, and our passing defense is struggles at times. Lately, it's been pretty good. It hasn't been terrible, but yeah, it will struggle at times. So, me personally, like I said, I was excited about maybe the Falcons or the Vikings, but the Rams, that'd be a tough matchup.
Me, I'm bring the Rams on. You know what I'm saying? Bring them on. The Rams are a decent team, but they're streaky and they're hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? They could come out and they could have a great game and put up 30 some points, or they could come out and have a horrible game and put up 3 points. So Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup are definitely receivers to be worried about with Matthew Stafford back there. But at the same time, that's it. There's nothing else about the Rams defense that scares me. Maybe Aaron Donald, but he's not as uh, much to worry about as he used to be. Like he's not as dominating as he used to be. So, but other than that, man, they got those four individuals pretty much. And other than that, man, their defense is not really nothing to be scared of, man. Our offense is a high power offense. Their defense is kind of wishy washy. So I think that game will be more of a shootout than anything else. And if Cooper Cup or Puka Nakua is having an off game, then the game is ours.
I guarantee you that if the Rams come here, they will put up more than 3 points.
Well, I was being dramatic, but you know what I mean.
Kyron Williams is one of the best young backs in football. Is playing like one of the best young backs in football right now. Very dangerous. Sean McVay is a great offensive-minded coach. You're not gonna make me talk good about Matthew Stafford, but I will just say that he is out there.
No, I said Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Nakua, Cooper Cup, and they brought in Demarcus Robinson, who's picked the who they he kind of hit the ground running with the team. Um, you know, I mean, yeah, I feel like no matter who it is, if it's an NFL franchise, you're gonna say bring him on. I'm more so just like on a scale of like 1 to 10, who I want to play. You know, the Rams are in realistic scenarios where we could win. The Rams might be the hardest team we could face, or the second hardest, depending on how Seattle is. Like, I'd almost rather face Seattle right now because I don't know who their quarterback is, and I don't think they know who their quarterback is.
The Rams and the Seahawks are pretty much, for me personally, in my opinion, they are in the same class. I'm not worried about facing the Rams or the Seahawks in the playoffs. I would be more so worried about having to go back to back against the Cowboys, having to face them again, or having to run into like the Eagles or really that's it, man. I would say the Vikings, but they're in danger of not even making the playoffs. So other than that, man, those other teams are in a lesser tier for me, and I think that we are one tier above those teams. So I'm not so much worried about those teams. When you get into the upper echelon of San Francisco, Philadelphia, and I don't know, like and the Cowboys, then that's the tier I think that we're up in. Maybe if we don't have to worry about them on the AFC side, but on the other side of that would be like the Dolphins or the Ravens. But or even as bad a season as they have, and maybe even the Chiefs. But I can't even say I'll put the Chiefs up there right now because they having such a bad span of weeks. But yeah, man, the Rams or the Seahawks, I'm not worried about.
Well, getting back to the division, it's been a long time coming. So, I heard somebody ask a question: I mean, it could be anybody, but who are you most happy for, as far as this division win?
The division win. Who am I most happy for? Um, it would have to be the guys that have been there the longest. Ragnow, Taylor Decker, and also I would have to say Dan Campbell. I will say Taylor Decker and Ragnow because they've been in the longest. They've been through the losing seasons, along with Tracy Walker, been through some of the losing seasons. And then, so I would have to put those two first. Tracy Walker third, and then after that, it will probably be Dan Campbell because Dan Campbell was here when the Lions were 0-16, and he went through some of those losing seasons with the Lions. So he somewhat understands our pain and what the Lions had to go through to what this moment means to the city. So I would say that's who in that order. It would be Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker, Tracy Walker, and then Dan Campbell.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, I know, golf said Decker, especially since everything he's been through. I would have to say, I have to say Sheila Ford, man. It's all kind of encompassing, especially what you said about the Dan Campbell and the 0-16 team. I got a question about that later. But it just seemed all encompassing. And she took over, and people were skeptical about how she would do. She'd just be like her parents, and she took ownership, literally and figuratively. And she brought in Dan Campbell, brought in Brad Holmes, and she honestly, man, it's what an owner should be. It's what an owner should do. I should say is that she puts her people in place, gives them the they almost have full autonomy. I'm not gonna go all the way out there and be like they can do whatever they want. They can't do whatever they want, but they can, for the most part, as long as it makes football sense and they can explain it and justify it, they can pretty much do whatever they want. There's some things that they want to steer away from, but that's whatever. That's her prerogative. It's just her team. I don't care. But anyway, but she gives them the power, moves out the way, and you see what happens when that happens, and that's going take me to another question I'm gonna ask you later on about ownership. But it would be Sheila Ford and just the hurdle she had to overcome because she was behind the eight ball, taking over his team. Like a lot of people were skeptical, and they did give her a chance, but especially when Dan Campbell started off rough last year and she went out there and co-signed on her guys. People was real shaky, but that's what happens when you put the right people in place. They come through for you, and they show that you made the right decision. They make you look good. So, shout out Dan Campbell, shout out Brad Holmes, shout out Sheila. Like it's a real good regime we in right now.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you said that actually because that's a good point. I guess I was just thinking about the team in general. Yeah, man, that is a great point. Sheila Ford did come in here. Give shout outs to her. Um, because after years and years and years and years of I grew up watching this team and rooting for them every year since I was little, man. And every year, the only reason I could think of that we always lost so many games is because of the head management and because the teams, despite all the losing we did over these 30 years, man, despite all the losing we did, that's the thing about the Lions. The teams were good. They were good teams. Like it's not like over this 30-year span, the Lions were getting blown out every game for 30 years. It was like, and that was the gift and the curse about the Lions. They weren't bad teams, so they kept you drawing in, and they would give you hope, thinking that what I'm saying, this is a good team, they can win. And a lot of those games were just close games or some fluke shit happened at the end of the game or they messed up somehow um at the end of the game in a game they should have won over and over and over. And the only consistent thing that I could think of is that the thing that stood out of the most the most about these teams was that as long as whatever Ford was in the seat at the time, was long as people were paying to put butts in the seat and they were getting money from it, that they did not care what this team did. And when Sheila came along, she is the only one that took time and she's been the only one in management that ever took an interest in saying what she actually wants for the team. She wants good for the team. And I just want and you are absolutely right, man. I want to give a shout out to her because when she did come in here, I feel like I was like, what I'm saying, I was like one of the only ones. I think I was telling you when she first bought Dan Campbell and Brad in, it feels different. It feels different. I think something feels different this time. And what I'm saying, people were telling me, nah, they always say it feels different. No, I'm like, but for real, this time it's something. It's an air about the team that's different, and that was 3 years ago, man. And here we are today.
You said that so so you said it, but then you said something else, and I like the second part that you said. You said as long as people are still coming in, the owners don't really care, and so that makes me think of and I was thinking about that earlier, right? And it was like, man, right now we look at the Detroit Pistons, right? Terrible,
Okay.
terrible franchise right now. This is probably the lowest point of the franchise in the history of the the Detroit Pistons. And so, the thing is, I was listening to a couple other shows, And they were saying, well, as long as the fans are still coming in, yeah, like, the fans gotta, not come or whatever. But it's like, even if the fans don't show up, okay, if the fans don't show up, then it's an embarrassment thing. It's not a money thing. So if you want to try to embarrass the team and embarrass the owner, that's one strategy. But is that going to make a change? I don't know, because then I thought about it. But I was like, what about the Lions? Because people really never boycotted the Lions, but they did the paper bags and they did the march and they did everything, and honestly none of that made a difference in my opinion. The only thing that made a difference was, which brings me to my question, a owner took over who was basically from Detroit, who grew up seeing this team fail and cared enough to try to turn this thing around. And then you go to the coach, a guy who was on a team, a 0-16 team, knows what it was like in here, and he comes in with that same type of fire, like, man, we got to get this turned around. And he actually did something. You look around, I keep on talking about the Joe Dumars GM-led Pistons that won the championship, the Going to Work Pistons. Joe Dumars, man, bad boys, born, just bred in Detroit. He knew what it took. And now look at the Red Wings. What did they do? They went out and got Steve Yzerman, a Detroit icon. So my question is, man, and we're assuming that it's going to work out with Steve Yzerman. But my question is, why is like Detroit, or is it just Detroit? Maybe you could think of somewhere else, but it just seems like Detroit needs Detroit people to turn around Detroit, whereas I feel like other places isn't like that. And just an impromptu question off the top of my head I wanted to ask you.
I don't know, man. For me, it feels like Detroit is a unique place, man. Because we're not a a low market sports city. Like, I don't know, just for example, um Green Bay. Green Bay is all they got in Green Bay is football. I mean, go to Green Bay, it's nothing else there but football. So the fans, the owners, they have nothing to invest in Green Bay but invest money into the team. So that for those low level markets like that, you have those who are all about the team, and then you got the higher end of like California teams, where California teams always have so much money, and they are always at the top of always at the top of the media circle. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get all the attention no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And they're always gonna have a lot of money to invest in their teams because they're LA, because they're New York, because they're Texas. They're always gonna have tons and tons of money to invest in their teams. And then you have teams like Detroit. And Detroit is kind of a unicorn, man. We're somewhere in the middle. We don't have we have enough, we always have enough money to invest in good players, but we never have enough money to invest in stars. Because if we invested in like LeBron James, we would never have enough money to get anybody else. It would be like we would have to pay so much money to get LeBron James here. It would be LeBron James and five scrubs, five trash people. So we've always been that team that got above average players. Not no, we got stars, but they weren't superstars. We always get those stars, and we get enough stars to win, but we don't have enough stars. We don't get but we get enough stars to win, but not be a dynasty. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that type of market. So to answer your question, I feel like, and the only way to win with that with the type of market that we have You have to understand the culture. You have to understand the fans. You have to understand what type of city Detroit is in order to be successful here. And if you don't understand that, if you come in thinking that your team and your fans are going to be like Green Bay, or you come in thinking that your team and your fans are going to be like how it is in Dallas or California or Texas or New York, I mean, then you're not going to be successful. It takes somebody who knows what's going on here in order to win here.
No, that's a solid answer. Um, yeah. So where that applies to the Pistons right now, I don't know. Um, but we,
Well, as far as the Pistons go, I can say this, man. Um, it's like it's like they say when you're addicted to drugs, man. You got to hit rock bottom before you're willing to make a change. And while the Pistons are almost there, because it feel like for the Lions, I can call the key moment that the Lions hit rock bottom, and it was Sheila Ford took over. It was the Thanksgiving game, and I don't recall the score, but I know on national TV during the Thanksgiving game, Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans, who weren't that great of a team at the time, came here and blew the doors off of us on Thanksgiving Day and we were the only game on. It was in front of the world, and we got embarrassed on national TV. And then, despite what everybody thinks about him, the next day, Stephen A. Smith came on national TV on ESPN and said that the Lions are embarrassment to football. Even though they started the Thanksgiving game, it is embarrassing to watch them every year lose as bad as they lose every year, and the Thanksgiving game should be taken away from them. And from that moment on, Sheila came out to the media and said that that will never happen again, and that's when she brought in Dan Campbell. So for the Pistons, I think the same thing, man. It's gonna have to be because right now, I don't even think the Pistons are playing on national TV, man. It would have to be something dramatic like that. The Pistons have to be on a national stage, and they have to get the dog the dog crap beat out of them. And it has to be something embarrassing on a national level, or to the point where, because I already heard that people are buying tickets to games and they're moving everybody forward down in the stadium, down in the lower levels, and putting up a black curtain around the rest of the stadium so you don't see how empty it is. So I mean, it's gonna take something major, man. Something catastrophic. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
so
maybe a 2-80 season is what the team needs to make a major turnaround.
So last week we talked a little bit about the Pistons, and I told you that I was burnt out on the Pistons. I was you know I was numb. I was numb to the Pistons, and you know I had some time and had other people listen to it, but I guess my biggest thing is, and maybe, I mean, me and you do it all the time, right? Me and you will get to arguing, and one of us will pin the other one, and we will back the other one into the corner, and then we in the corner, and then we got no choice but to say something crazy, and we say something crazy just just because we don't want to admit that we wrong, and that's what this quote felt like. So like you said, the fans. Here, I'll just rewrite. Tom Gores finally decided to talk. He talked to the Pistons beat writers, and it was you know, it was really a waste of time. I guess it was to instill some type of confidence because he said that nobody's getting fired. They're gonna make changes. Um, you know, it's not all bad. Like that's the thing he kept harping on. Like it's not all bad. The ship isn't, the ship isn't broken. Like we just got to ride the ship. And it's like, bro, let me see. Hold on, let me get it right in my head. So
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Pause real quick.
It's all
All right, my bad. You said in your head what was going on?
So tonight the Pistons are playing the Celtics. Boston, they're in Boston. Celtics haven't lost a game at home all season. So this idea that the Pistons are going to go in there and win probably isn't going to happen. I read a report that their two best players are questionable. It doesn't matter. The Pistons are going to lose tonight, and that's going to put them. That's going to put the losing streak at 28. They lost the last game. That put them at 27, which made the single season consecutive loss record the Pistons own. So now they own that record. And now they're chasing the between seasons record where somebody was like, they lost 20 straight games. And then the next season they lost, some more games. And regardless, I think the record is 28 straight games. So they got to get to 29. So they're going to lose to Boston tonight. So basically all I'm saying is that at the end of the year, this will go down as the worst team in NBA history. And how you come out and you say that the ship is okay, like that is crazy. And then on top of that, the fans are at the end of games now. This is what Pistons fans are doing. At the end of games, they chant "sell the team." They've been doing it for like the past 2 weeks. And so somebody asked them, how does it feel when fans are chanting "sell the team"? Tom Gores responded to that by saying that they can say what they want, but that's ridiculous. Other than winning, and we should win more games, we do a lot in the community. Players, the organization, we do a lot in the community. If you put aside winning, we made a very big difference. We made a very big difference in the community. And that means a lot to me. Then he goes on to talk about how, what does it say? I understand that that's only going to mean a lot to people if we win, but what's happening with our community over all these years is there, and we're doing multi-billion-dollar things outside of basketball. I understand the fans being upset, but selling the team is a ridiculous thought. And it's like, besides winning aside, like he don't want to talk about winning. At that point, man, what can I say? What can I say? I mean, you could fire the GM, you could fire the coach, and like I said, the only thing that I can hope is that that's one of the moments where he was pinned against the wall and he just said something crazy. Because if you are putting winning aside, or winning is secondary to owning an American sports franchise, hey man, I don't know what to tell you. As one of as one of your guys like to say, I can't help you.
Yeah, man. Like you said, man, I think that. I mean, sometimes it's like, what what do you want me to say? So I mean, people keep asking you like, what's the problem? What's the problem? If you don't have no answer, I mean, I guess you just say whatever. But that's why I said, man.
If I'm the owner, man, and I'm the owner of the worst NBA franchise in history, like I'm firing everybody. I was thinking about it, like, what if I was like, just hypothetically, somebody just walked in and was like, Marcus, we want you to be the new GM of the Pistons. I would be like, wow, that's a lot of pressure. Like, I don't know what I would do. And then I thought about it, and it was like, hey, look at it like this. You can't do no worse.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying that what he said or what he did was right. I think he just kind of panicked. But yeah, man, I mean, if you can't get no worse, but at the same time, I think he's like I said, man, he's under a lot of pressure because he don't have no answer. He clearly doesn't know what he's doing as the owner. and he's trying everything. He's trying everything he knows. I'm not saying what he's doing is the correct way to do it, or the right, or he's doing it the right way, or he's doing it correctly. But as far as he knows, he's doing everything in his power to make this a winning franchise. And on top of everything, and people keep asking, "What's up with this franchise? What's up with this franchise?" And on in his head, he's doing everything he can to uh to save the team, and it's not working. So then on top of that, you just hired this coach and gave him $70 million, and the team got worse. So do you come out to the media and be like, listen, I'm about to fire the coach, I'm about to fire the GM. I know I hired these guys, and I promised that these guys were going to turn the team around, but I made a mistake. I shouldn't have hired them. Or do you just be like, well, look at what we doing in the community? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where he at.
So what you did right there is you just described a villain. That basically I heard you describing a villain. Like he in his head, the world sees one thing, but in his head he sees something totally different. What he's doing is flying in the face of what anybody else would do. He's just doing what he wants to do, and he doesn't want to relinquish anything. He got his staff in place that he likes, and that's his staff. And results be damned, he's gonna ride with his people. And if the fans don't like it, hey, that's it's a free country. You free to not like it, but I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, unfortunately, that's what it means to be the owner of something, man. You can do whatever fuck you want to do with what you own.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why, like I said, the Pistons are dead. The Pistons are a dead franchise, and Stephen A's already come out. He came out before. I don't know what he's talking about now, but a couple weeks ago, he said the Pistons are a horror show. It's a disgrace. I sent you stuff. The Athletic. ESPN is opening with this story. Like, I mean, the Pistons are a national story.
Well, like I said, that's what I'm saying, man. It might take this year. It might take this year for everything just to go off the rails bad for it to turn around. You know what I'm saying? It might have to get so bad that like, I don't know, maybe the games that the referee that the league itself make a I don't know, man, but I know in order for change to happen with somebody like that, something dramatical has to happen. And like I said, man, it might just be the embarrassment of 2-80 season, man. So you know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
even if you did get a 2-80 season though, um, you know, to get him to realize that this team is bad, that's one thing. So a 2-80 season would have to like shove it in his face, like, look at it. But I mean, and if he looked at it, it was like, man, everybody was right. This team is terrible. My GM is terrible. My coach is terrible. I mean, that's just realizing is one thing, but actually, the Lions realized that they were bad. But I mean, how long did it take, for them to figure out how to correct it? That was another decade after they realized they were bad. So it's a hopeless endeavor, man. There's no fix for the Pistons. Right now, the rumor is that they're looking at signing 4 guys who are borderline all-stars. I said signing, excuse me. They're looking to trade for 4 guys who are borderline all-stars.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that, what do you give up? You don't have like a lot of draft picks to give up. That's always what I say about keeping these guys and giving them time to develop. Problem with that is if they suck, nobody's gonna want them, and that's kind of where we're at. So
Well, um, I don't know, man. In my opinion, I know you don't feel the same way. I mean, you only feel partially the way I feel. In my opinion, I feel bad for the players because I don't think that like I heard an interview with Cade saying that this team is not as bad as our record says. And as far as the talent that they have on this team, I feel like that's somewhat true, man. I can't speak for I can't speak for the entire team, but for the four that are always mentioned, man. Um, for the four that are always mentioned, I think that those guys have a lot of talent. And if they had the right leadership, that they are better than the two in 2018.
Uh, a lot of, this the one guy I listen to, he always says, player X would or would not start on a playoff team, and the Pistons only have uh one player that will start on the playoff team, and that's Cade. Duran might start, and eventually down the road, if he can stay healthy, he would be a starter. But Sasser would not play for. I think I said last time, Sasser is a G League player. Sasser has a lot of potential, but like right now, he's a G League player, and Jaden Ivey has
Uh,
fallen out of favor with the Pistons, and his stock in the NBA is kind of falling too. He's having a not a very good year. He had a couple good
well,
games.
I wasn't talking about Sasser so much as I was talking about K Duran, Ivy, and Asar.
Hmm.
Um, uh, my thing with Ivy is, man, I've been hearing that he finally got back in the starting graces, and they're giving him a little bit more playing time. But my thing with that would be, man, I think Jaden is having the off season because he ain't been playing. I mean, he missed the first quarter of the season, and then when he finally came back, he sat on the bench until now. So I mean, what do you expect from him? You expect him to come off the bench gunning? I mean, I think he needs to play a little bit more and get back into a rhythm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, is that's another leadership thing. I think. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, just like in a game, you get hot in a game. You know what I'm saying? Because you need your rhythm. You need that steady flow. Once you get hot, you hot. But if you out of sync and you've been sitting down and you're cold, then you're not gonna hit that shot that you usually hit.
We can
So
we can see
I
we
think
can
that's a leadership thing.
we can see what he do tonight. Killian's been out for like 2 weeks, not 2 weeks. It's going on 2 weeks though. But Killian's been out, so with Killian out, Jay's got more playing time. His first couple games, he dropped like 20, and he dropped like 16 or 18. But then the last game against Brooklyn, where they had a chance to win that game, man, they did. They really did. K put the team on his back. I'm sure you heard all the stories, but K put the team on his back, and he had no help. Like defensively, he had no help, and offensively, it's just that he's got no help. The guy's out there by himself. The team is, in my opinion, 2-26 bad. I looked at that roster before the season, and it just smacked me in the face at how bad it looked on paper. And people was telling me like, well, maybe it'll work. And I mean, I can't see the future, but just the way it looked, man, how the NBA is now, and the type of players that we had on this team, I was like, how is this gonna work? And it hasn't.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I'm just curious to know. It doesn't have any weight, but I just want to know. Let's say me and you, we when we were younger, you know what I'm saying, we were in our prime. We just happen to be like amazing basketball players, you know what I'm saying? And I ran into you one day and you ran into me, and I was like, "Hey, Marcus, you pretty good, man. We should get a team together." And we went and got three other guys that were just as good as us, and we just went to a basketball court, just the five of us, no coach, no nothing. And we ran into this other team that is just as amazing as us, but they had coaching. They was all organized. They had uniforms. We still in our street clothes. We just got gym shorts and t-shirts on. And you ran into the and you ran in, and we ran into this other team. They was all organized. They had support. They had fans on their side. They had they had a coach and all this other stuff. And we ended up playing them. If you was a pedestrian on the side, what I mean, like you was sitting in the stands watching that game, what team would you say will win?
I mean, whoever had the best player. I tell you, man, my thing is always if you got the best player on the court, that's what I'm betting on.
I'm saying, but they're even.
They're even.
Yeah, like I said, both teams have all-star players.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're trying to say that structure is going to be the deciding factor, I don't know. I mean, like if you put like if you took the Bulls, Phil Jackson, front office and made that the front office for the Detroit Pistons, you telling me that's like a playoff team now?
No, I'm saying that's not a 2 and 2016.
What are they?
Better than what they were last year. So what 20 they win. So instead of only winning 2 games this season, they win like 24 games.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a hypothetical. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know.
I'm just to your point, the Lions were bad for so long because of leadership. I'm saying that it seems to me like even though the Pistons don't have the best talent in the world, they have enough talent not to only win 2 games this season. And it seems to me like the leadership is what is failing them. Not so. It's probably the players as well. I'm not putting it all on the leadership. I mean, to your point, you do have to have the best players, but the leadership does have something to do with it. I mean, I see the talent on the team, so they should not have only won 2 games because at the end of the day, just like I was saying with the Lions, they are in some of these games. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the score and they're only down by 6, or they have the lead at some point in the game, and then they blow it before the game is over with. That's what I'm saying. Like somewhere along the lines, they should not be blowing these leads. They should not be so horrible in clutch time.
Yeah, but see, man, basketball is a little different than football because it's like you're not gonna dominate wire to wire in basketball. So at some point, yeah, you might give up a lead, but like football, you can't. I don't know. All I know is in basketball, at some point, you kind of put the gas on. Like it's a long game, and boom, 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 and then that's when the clutch moments. The last 5 minutes of a game. The joke is, don't turn on a basketball game until the fourth quarter or the last 5 minutes, because everything up to that point don't really matter because they just running up and down the court, and then at the end of the game, that's when it becomes a game. And the Pistons don't have anybody like you talk about those Lions teams that were bad. The Matthew Stafford teams. I'll say what I would. I'll say all types of stuff about Matthew Stafford, but I'm not going to argue that he wasn't a upper tier quarterback in the league when he was with the Lions, he was definitely on the upper half. He had Calvin Johnson, one of the greatest receivers of all time. On defense, we had Ndamukong Suh, and you go back to whatever. Darius Slay was here. You go Glover Quinn. We had guys. So my question is, like, when you look at this Pistons roster, you're not taking Cade over LeBron. You're not taking Cade over Paul George. You're not taking Cade over, all these stars in the league. And then if you say, hey, well, I don't want to do Cade, let's do the next best guy. All right, you go to Ivy. Like, there are so many other players before you get to Ivy that you would choose. So it's just really a poor. It's just a whole big ball of terrible management. To your point, is management,
That's what I'm saying.
is leadership. At the same, the players can't choose who's going to be on the team, but for whatever reason, all the players that are on the team are not good at basketball in modern day NBA. These guys are not good role players. They a lot of these guys would be bench players on another team, but we don't got to talk about the Pistons no more. We get back to football. I had one more question for you that's outside of the Lions. The Broncos seem to be done with Russell Wilson. So my question to you is, where's Russell Wilson going to play next year?
Um, I think there are plenty of places that he could land. Even if they are done with him, even if the Broncos are done with him, I think he will make a viable, bridge quarterback for another team. He came back this year and he played well enough to land him a spot somewhere. I can't think off the top of my head who needs a quarterback, but I would think someplace like, uh, hmm, I don't know, like Pittsburgh. Um, because I don't think Kenny Pickett is it. I think they're figuring that out, and then they've gone through Mitch Trubisky and Rudolph. So, like a team like Pittsburgh, somewhere similar to Pittsburgh would be a good landing spot. They have the team in place. They just need a quarterback, and all Russell needs is a team where the line can protect him. If the line can protect him, I think he'll be okay. So just off the head, Pittsburgh will be my first choice. But I'm pretty sure it's other teams out there that are only missing the quarterback, but that are not at the bottom of the league because teams like if the Bears decide to move on from Justin Fields, they're gonna be in line for a quarterback, or um the Vikings, they might be in line for a rookie quarterback or someone like that, but someone who is just looking to um do like we did and hold the line until for the next couple of years could use Russell Wilson.
No, I like Pittsburgh. I like that a lot. That'd be real good to see. As far as our prediction for the game, I think we could wrap that up in our picks if you want. That's cool with you.
Yeah, man. Just real quick, what did you think about the Vikings game? How did you think the Lions did? I mean, they had 4 or 5 weeks of bad play, and the Denver game and the Vikings games, they looking completely different. What's your take on the game, real quick?
I wasn't really too surprised. I didn't think Hawkinson and Addison would get hurt, but my thing was, I'm pretty sure I said last time that like Nick Mullins isn't your average backup quarterback. I'm like, like he's not afraid to throw it, and you saw he threw. I said if they get over 300 yards, it would be, it'll be trouble. And Nick Mullins had 400 yards. He had 4 picks though, so that really helped us. But I mean, Nick Mullins did what he do. He threw the ball 400 yards. Justin Jefferson, great receiver. Hawkinson made catches till he got hurt. And at the end of the day, I felt like the Lions should take both games against Minnesota. So, yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I might have to change my mind on split with Minnesota only because like you said they took so many injuries and I just don't see them losing the Lions losing back to back games. And that'll go into our picks when we talk about later. But as far as their play, man, I was glad to see it because I have been disappointed. I wasn't so much disappointed in the last couple losses we got, but so much more disappointed in the way we played. In the last two games, they came out and played like I know they could play. Um, I think the defense has been playing a lot better. I don't know if it's the change in personnel, or if it's AG changing up the scheme a little bit. But whatever they've been doing in the last couple of weeks has been working. They're still not the best defense in the league, but they are manageable enough to let the offense get its legs under us. As a matter of fact, I think the offense has been messing up more so in the last couple of weeks than the defense has been. But you know what I'm saying, together they have both been playing cohesive games that I think can get them a little somewhere in the playoffs. My only thing would be I don't know what to do with the safety room at all. Um, that is that is a conundrum for me.
How so?
Well, you got Iffy Melifonwu who's been playing great the last two games that he's been in. You got Kirby Joseph who just had two picks in the last game and he played his I think he was the lead tackler in the Denver game. And then you got Brian Branch who's been playing awesome as well. Even though he's a rookie, and then you got CJ coming back, and then on the bench you got Tracy Walker. So I mean, it's a lot of guys, it's a lot of depth at safety, and I mean, like you know, I think it's a conundrum because I don't know who I will start.
I got you. No, it's they're definitely deep at that position. I wish they was that deep at corner, but I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, I
they
think
they probably just gonna do what they do, rotate guys, and if somebody get hot, they probably ride them.
yeah, I think they're gonna address the corner situation in the draft next year. The corner and defensive line will be the focus of their draft next year. But that's for the end of the season. But that's pretty much all I had, man. I just wanted to get into it. Oh, kudos to uh Jameer Gibbs, man. Um, he had another hell of a season. He's looking to be one of the top running backs in the league right now, and I just wanted to give him his props. But I also wanted to say, man, I've been hearing some young cats try to compare Jameer Gibbs to Barry Sanders, man. Oh, that might be I'm not they be like, I'm not saying he's Barry Sanders, but don't that look Barry Sanders like? No. No, it doesn't. Stop comparing Jameer Gibbs. Don't get me wrong. Jameer Gibbs is a hell of a running back, man. I admire everything he's doing. I think he's going to be one of the greatest backs in this league. But the things that Barry Sanders was doing, first off, they have two different running styles. And the things that Barry Sanders was doing, I'm not sure if I'll ever see that again, man. So, I mean, I get that everybody's excited. I mean, with Detroit Lions fans, I think we've been down for so long that you're either in one group or the other. You know what I'm saying? You're either they win, you're like Super Bowl. They lose, you're like we'll never win again. And the same thing with how people root for players, you know, on this thing. And you know what I'm saying? No, the players do a little good, man, and they're like, oh man, he's the greatest insert position here ever. You know what I'm saying? And it's somewhere in the middle, guys. I mean, come on, man. Like
Yeah,
just now, everybody's high on the Lions because we won our last two games. So everybody's like, we're unbeatable. We're unbeatable. And those same guy, and those same people, just 2 weeks ago, where the people were saying, I don't think we'll win one playoff game or even get to the playoffs.
yeah, that three things. First of all, well, four things. That's society right now. Is everything's got to be trending. Two, that juke was straight out of Madden.
All right.
Three, no, he's not Barry. No, he doesn't look like Barry. And you probably never will see another Barry. And you don't want to see another Barry because if you see a Barry, that means that your offensive line is constantly letting guys through because Barry's out there running for and you don't want to see that. So
Right.
no
Right.
reason going down that road. And then four, what's more likely? The Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl or the Pistons finish the season with 5 or less wins.
Oh shit! Right, right now I have to say that I'll have to go with the Pistons finishing with 5 or 6 wins. Um, that's a tight decision though.
Tight. I thought about that. I thought about that driving today. Like, oof. Yeah. Yeah. I probably have to go with the Lions. You have to force my hand and take the Lions on that one.
Well, we going around the league now.
Yeah, it go around the league. Let's see. We both took Cincinnati last week.
Okay.
Pittsburgh won, blew them out, 34-11. We took
that was an anomaly.
We both took Buffalo. They was given 12. They only won by 2 against the Chargers. The streak continues. I said every time that I take the other team, the Lions win. So you got me on that one. Detroit beat Minnesota by 6. They was only favored by 3. Seattle and Tennessee. We was both on Seattle. Who won that game? Seattle, Tennessee. Oh, there it is. Seattle won that game. So, yeah, we was good on that. Well, actually, we wasn't. It was 3.5. They only won by 3. Indy, blah, blah, blah. All right, here we go. So, Cleveland. Cleveland was giving Houston 3. You took Cleveland. I took Houston. And Cleveland destroyed Houston.
Yeah, Houston is not the same without CJ Stroud, man. They need them back dramatically. When he got hurt, their season was over.
Well, he only had a concussion. He'd be back this week, so we calm down.
I mean, how many games did they lose in the meantime?
Dallas went to Miami. I took Dallas. You took Miami. Wow, -2. I took Dallas. Wow. They ended up being a push with the points, though. Arizona went to Chicago. I took Arizona. You took Chicago. Chicago won by 11. You on fire this week. Las Vegas and KC. Oh my goodness, you took the Raiders. I took KC. The
Raiders got the Chiefs number. I don't know why, but the Raiders got the Chiefs number, man.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with really, the working theory right now is that people undervalue Eric Bieniemy with the Kansas City Chiefs, and on top of that, Patrick Mahomes has no receivers for the first time in his career.
No, I understand. I understand what's going on in Kansas City. he has no receivers. Uh, Kadarius Tony is a mole. Um, he's a spy sent there to destroy their team. Um, Travis Kelsey has been pussy whipped, and he's forgot how to play football. And Patrick Mahomes is out there by himself, along with the fact that they lost Eric Bieniemy and Orlando Pace, and they lost one more defensive lineman, I think. And yeah, man, Patrick Mahomes pretty much out there by himself. So I know what's happening in KC, but I mean, until you get some help, it's nothing gonna change about that.
All right, so going around the league, the Jets are going to Cleveland. Cleveland giving 7.5. That's tonight.
Oh, I have no faith in the Jets, man. The Jets are horrible. Even with that defense, man, they just I no the Browns.
Yeah, no, there's no question there. There's no reason to take to take the Jets. All right. So the Lions are taking on the Cowboys this week in Dallas. Cowboys are giving 5.5.
uh, okay, so I hope I'm wrong about this, man, because I think that the Lions and the Cowboys are even. I think they are even teams, but the Cowboys are on a 2 game losing streak. The Lions are on a 2 game winning streak, and the Cowboys have a lot more to play for than the Lions right now because the Lions have done what they needed to do, and the Cowboys haven't. So I'm going to I'm going to take the Lions with the points. I think the Lions are going to lose this game by 3, so I'm going to take the Lions with the 5 points. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Lions come out and beat these. I feel like they can come out and beat them. If they come out and play on all cylinders, and if they weren't playing in Dallas, I will go Lions wholeheartedly. But for right now, that's the way I'm rolling.
I'm with you. I'm gonna take the points. I'll feel a lot better with 6. I mean, 5.5 really shouldn't make that much of a difference, but I would just feel a lot better with 6. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game, and I'm with you. I think Dallas is gonna win, but I think the Lions are gonna cover. San Francisco is going to Washington to take on the Commanders. San Fran is giving 12.5 on the road.
The Commanders.
Yep.
You know me, man. I love the Commanders, man. I love them, but it's been a hard, rough season for them. I think they've been worn down to the nub, and they got nothing left, man. And I think San Francisco comes out and destroys them.
Uh,
It won't even be a game.
I'm gonna take the 12.5. I think San Francisco is a little nervous after taking that beating last week. So I'm gonna say that I think they win, but I don't think they cover the 12.5.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Baltimore is a pretty good team.
Speaking of Baltimore is hosting Miami. Baltimore is giving 3.
I'm gonna take Baltimore. Uh, After last week, man, they have to prove to me that they could be beaten. Um, Lamar Jackson has had a couple of bad games this season, but he's always um, covered his mistakes, man, and they've been winning. So you know what I'm saying, he will have to have a hell of a horrible game to lose this one.
I think this is Miami Super Bowl. I take Miami. New England Patriots going to Buffalo. Buffalo giving 13.
Buffalo. New England. New England is they're all set for a rebuild, man. They I think next year we're gonna see some big moving and shakings and firings and repositionings in New England, and so this year it's over with. So yeah.
Um, Usually I wouldn't do this, but I just feel like Josh Allen hates the Patriots, so I think they run up the score and cover the 13. We in agreement on that. Arizona going to Philly. Arizona getting 11 on the road.
mm. Um, I'm gonna say Philly's gonna win that game, but I'll take the points with Arizona. I'll take the Arizona with the points, but Philly's gonna win.
We are in agreement on that one. We in agreement on that. Yeah, I feel like Arizona always plays Philly tough, and it's just one of those games. Like a lot of times, Arizona when they are super underdogs, they just find a way to. So at halftime, they find a way to win, but I don't think they're gonna win. But I think they make it
Remember,
interesting.
remember our comparison at the beginning of the season that the Arizona are like the Lions used to be.
Mhm.
They play hard, man. They just lose. So I mean, I think they're gonna come out and they're gonna play hard, but I just think Philly is gonna win at the end.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Tampa Bay is hosting New Orleans. Tampa Bay is giving 2.5.
Um, damn, man. That's a hard one because these are both they like identical. They like identical teams. They are both decent teams that fuck up. Um, hmm, who's gonna fuck up, Baker Mayfield or Derek Carr? I think Baker Mayfield is more likely to fuck up than Derek Carr. Don't get me wrong, Derek Carr will fuck up, but Baker Mayfield is more likely to fuck up. So give me
Uh,
the Saints.
I hate the Saints, so I'll take the Tampa Bay.
Oh,
Um,
the Saints did nothing to you, man.
the Saints are just a bad football team that play in a terrible division. Must be nice. LA Rams are going to New York, take on the Giants. Rams are giving 6 on the road.
Uh, the Giants have been playing all right, man. Um, said it again. Who they fight? The Giants playing who?
The Rams.
Damn, the Rams have been playing good too. Who is the quarterback? Is it DeVito or is whatchamacallit back? Tyrod Taylor back.
DeVito got benched last game, but I don't know who's starting the next game.
For some reason, I'm gonna go with the Giants. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm gonna go with the Giants. I feel like the Rams are streaky and I just feel like the Giants got another one in them.
I think the Rams can put up points against anybody, and if they get up by 6, I don't think they're looking back. So I'll take the Rams. Carolina going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville giving 6.5. Battle of the Cats.
Uh, I want to say Jacksonville gonna win this game because of Travis Etienne. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
I also hate Jacksonville, so I'm going to take Carolina in the points. Atlanta is going to Chicago, and Chicago's giving 3.
Chicago. Did the Atlanta just fire that coach?
I'm not sure.
Uh, I'm gonna go with Chicago because for some reason Atlanta hasn't figured out that they need to hand the ball off to Bijan Robinson. So I'm gonna go with
Uh,
Chicago.
I'm also going to take Chicago. Um, Atlanta is not a good team, and Chicago has potential. The Raiders are going to Indy. Oh man, what a game! Indy is giving 3.5.
Can you hear me?
I can't now.
Indy is getting 3.5.
Indy's giving 3.5.
Who are they going up against again?
The Raiders.
Ooh, I want to say. See, I'm at a conundrum because I'm going with your theory that Minshew loses a game then wins a game. So the coach lost last week, so they should win this week. But the Raiders have been on fire, so I'm gonna take the Raiders.
Um, not because of my theory, but my theory does hold true. Take the Colts. Like the Raiders are due for a loss, and the Colts are just as tough and scrappy as a team as the Raiders are. Tennessee going to Houston. Tennessee is getting 5.5.
Damn, didn't I just play last week?
They played like 2 weeks ago or last week, something like that. It's like it's like the Vikings and the Lions.
You said C.J. Stroud is coming back this week.
I believe so. I know he practiced.
If C.J. Stroud plays, I'll take the Texans.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I hate the Titans. I had a lot of teams out.
I'm with you, man. I hate the Titans. I hate the Titans too. I like Derek. The only thing I like about the Titans is Derrick Henry. But other than that, Titans can eat a dick.
Pittsburgh is going to Seattle. Seattle giving 3.5.
Mm, Pittsburgh going to Seattle. I don't know who Seattle quarterback is, but I do know Pittsburgh. Even though they had a good game last week, I know Pittsburgh has been playing horrible. So I'm gonna go with Seattle.
I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh. They like Mitch. They moved on from Mitch Trubisky. Mason Rudolph sucks too, but I don't know. I guess they like him more than Trubisky. Cincinnati going to KC. Chiefs are giving 7.
Cincinnati going to KC. I think the Chiefs win. Uh, Cincinnati has been doing okay without Joe Burrow, but Chiefs are due for a win. Patrick Mahomes is upset, and I think he's been embarrassed the last couple of weeks. And I think that he's gonna come out and try to make an example of somebody.
I agree with you. Chiefs are due for a win, and Cincinnati is kind of falling apart without Burrow, so I'll go with them. Chargers taking on Denver. Chargers are getting 3.5.
Mm. Denver. I'm going with Denver. The Chargers suck, and especially without Justin Herbert, they suck even more.
I'm going with the Chargers. Denver is benching their quarterback, so I don't know how that works. So we'll see. But,
Denver's benching Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's what. That's what I was saying. Where you think you're gonna be next year? Because they benched him for the last 2 games.
Damn, I might have to change my answer. I'm gonna stick with my answer. For some reason, the Beckers have been coming in and playing great their first game. Before they completely fall off the edge, they at least have one good game.
Last game, Green Bay going to Minnesota. Minnesota giving 1.
I think Green Bay wins. The Vikings got a lot of injuries, and they only got Justin Jefferson out there, which is almost enough, man. I mean, he was making some amazing catches against the Lions. I think he was the only reason that they stayed in that game to the end, actually. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay.
Yeah, that's a good point. I gotta agree with you. I'm gonna go with Green Bay as well. Like you said, a lot of injuries. I think it's a fun game though. But yeah, I think Green Bay pulls out.
Right.
But that's all I got, man.
Yeah, man, it was a good video, man. I think we got into some deep topics, man. We don't usually get that deep into them, but that was a great video, man. The Lions got the Cowboys, so hopefully, even though I picked them to win, they can win this one this weekend coming up. And then we didn't even talk about it, but I think Michigan is playing this weekend coming up as well. Good luck to them as well against Alabama. And if we do not see you until then, I want to wish everybody a happy new year, man. Blessings be with you in this new year. The best to y'all. And shouts out to all our people who support and comment on our page, man. Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Peace.